Well, hello and welcome to our program tonight. It is always so good to have you with us. Tonight is the last of our reruns. Next week we'll start back into a fresh new season. We've rearranged the furniture just a little bit, and we've done a little decorating to the curtains and a little bit of a new look. Not anything radical. It'll still look mostly the same, but we tried to freshen it a little bit, and we've gone back and we've done a little editing to some of the videos, and hopefully we'll just have a brighter, fresher look for season 2. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the last replay of the season. This was show number 12. Well, hello again and welcome to our program tonight. We're going to start tonight off with a song that was written by Stuart Hamblen. Stuart was one of those characters that in the early 1900s, he might have been the first singing cowboy, but he was certainly one of them. He had a radio show in 1926, and he sang his songs, and later on became an actor and a songwriter and remained a radio star for many years. Billy Graham even says that before he became associated with Hamblen, he was the one that led Stuart Hamblen to Christ, by the way. And in the story of It Is No Secret, he tells how he went to one of Billy Graham's crusades. But he was such a star in the California area that when Billy went on Billy said before his program, his crusades were, they weren't crusades. He was just speaking here and there. And he said the crowds weren't very big, but after he became associated with Hamblen and went on some of his radio shows, he said all of a sudden his following just went up immensely. So they both benefited from each other. He led Stuart to Christ, and Christ led people to him. Stuart's radio show led people to him. So they had a mutual admiration going after a while. But anyway, this song he wrote it somewhere around in the early 1950s, but Rosemary Clooney did a version of it in 1954, and it became the #1 song in the United States and in the United Kingdom. And a guy named Shakin' Stevens recorded it again in 1981, and it was #1 again in the United Kingdom. He said that he and a friend, and some say it was John Wayne, and could well been because he and John Wayne were really big buddies. And but they were on a hunting trip, and they came upon this old house, and they went inside, and this man had passed away, and he was in his chair, and there was his dog still sitting there, I guess wondering what was going on, not understanding what had happened. But anyway, he said by the time he got back down from the mountain that they were on and finished up their hunting trip, he had come up with the words and the music to this song. And we're going to do it for you tonight. It's called This Old House.
This old house once knew my children. This old house once knew my wife. This old house was home and comfort as we fought the storms of life. This old house once rang with laughter. This old house heard many a shout. Now she trembles in the darkness when the night wind walks about. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. Ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles. Ain't got time to fix the floor. Ain't got time to oil the hinges, nor to mend no window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. I'm a-getting ready to meet the saint. This old house is getting shaky. This old house is getting old. This old house lets in the rain, and this old house lets in the cold. On my knees I'm getting chilly, but I feel no fear or pain, 'cause I see an angel peeking through a broken window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. Ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles. Ain't got time to fix the floor. Ain't got time to oil the hinges, nor to mend no window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. I'm a-getting ready to meet the saint. My old hound dog lies asleepin', he don't know I'm gonna leave. Else he'd wake up by the fireplace and he'd sit there growl and grieve. But my hunting days are over, I ain't gonna hunt for food no more. Gabriel done brought in the chariot when the wind blew down that door. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor. Ain't got time to oil the hinges, nor to mend no window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm a-getting ready to meet the saints. I ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor. Ain't got time to oil the hinges, nor to mend no window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm a-getting ready to meet the saints. I ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm a-getting ready to meet the saints.
Before we do our next song tonight, I would just like to ask everybody, if you would, to if you have any friends that like this kind of music and they like to sing along, tell them about the program. Let's grow our little community a little bit. For this next song, I'm going to do a song that was written by somebody that I've been with all my life. I raised him from a pup. I knew him from day one. Last week, somebody, and I'm not going to say who because I'm sure I'll misremember it. My memory these days is less than stellar. But somebody said, "What day is it besides Valentine's Day?" And of course everybody was guessing. And then finally they said, "This is the day the Lord has made." And it reminded me of a song that I had written years ago. I guess it was 20 years ago. I had started playing, I had been playing secular music in my younger, wilder days, and I wasn't going to church or playing for anything church related or anything like that. But I met this guy across the hall from where I had my first little studio. I was in a mall at that time. It was more of a teaching situation, but it was a small little studio as well. And anyway, he called me one day and he says, "Bird, I need a piano player for my church." And I said, "Wayne, I don't really know any piano players." He said, "No, I'm talking about you." We had been talking a little bit. I guess he had heard me. That was in my early days when I was trying to find my way back home, and I think maybe he sensed that. But they needed a piano player, and I needed some way to find my way home. So he offered me that, and I said, "Well, you know, I don't read music very well." He said, "No, we don't read music either." He said, "We just listen to it and learn it and sing." And I said, "Well, now, you know, there may be some possibilities there." So we planned a rehearsal, and sure enough, I went and we rehearsed, and I loved it. I mean, they just had a spirit and a fire that was just, I just loved it. And the music had changed so much since when I was a kid, you know. I mean, I had my drum machine, and I had my keyboard bass and my keyboards, and it just really fit together with what they were doing really well. So, you know, I mean, it's funny how God works. That was my first, that was my pathway back home. Still wasn't there yet, but at least I started playing for him. But anyway, one Sunday morning, when he first stepped up to the pulpit, he says, "Repeat after me. This is the day the Lord has made." And everybody said it. "I will be glad and rejoice in it." And everybody said it. "I am more than a conqueror in every situation." Everybody repeated, "I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me." And I'm going, there's a song there. I don't know if I'm not familiar with where that. I know it's in the Bible, and it's probably in the Old Testament, but I can't tell you the verse in the chapter, and I don't know if they're together like that. It might be, but nonetheless, it's the first time I had really heard those two things put together like that. And I thought, you know, and sure enough, by the time I got home that day, the melody had come to me and everything, and so I had written this song, and it's called "This is the Day the Lord has made.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I am more than a conqueror in every situation. I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I am more than a conqueror in every situation. I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I will be glad and rejoice in it. Yes, I'll be glad and I'll rejoice.
For those of you who enjoy these great old gospel songs, I've put together a complete collection of all 6 of my gospel albums on 3 CDs. Most of the songs we'll be doing on the Friday Night Sing-Along are contained in this collection. There are 2 complete albums on each CD, and this collection also contains a book with the words and the chord changes I use to play each of the 62 songs. Perfect for those that like to sing and play along. Just go to our website, www.birdyeomans.com, and click the My Music Store tab, and this special offer will be at the top of the page. You can also email us directly if you prefer, and that address is linda@birdyeomans.com. You'll also find my individual CDs as well as DVDs of the Friday Night Sing-Along episodes. Now let's get back to some of that great old-time gospel music. For our next song tonight, I'm going to do a song that was requested by one of you in the chat room, and it's hard for me to remember who it was, but a guy named Jim Hill wrote this song. And he said his mother-in-law became very ill. And he was a new Christian at that time. And he said one afternoon he was riding home from work, and he just couldn't understand why good people have to get sick like this, you know. And he said these ideas just started flooding his mind, and he didn't have anything to write the words down on. And he said, strange thing, when he got home, he looked down and there was a piece of cardboard laying on the ground, and he picked that up and started scribbling out the words. And he said it wasn't long before he had this song finished, and the first person he sang it for was his mother-in-law, who was the one that had gotten ill and had caused all these thoughts in his mind. And Jim Hill was well known. He sang along with this. He was in the Stamps Quartet. He was with the Statesmen, and he was with a couple of other groups. But he sang in quartets during his lifetime and everything. But this song that he wrote just became a very popular song among all the different quartets, and I love it too. And then you even requested this. It's called What a Day That Will Be.
There is coming a day when no heartache shall come, no more clouds in the sky, no more tears to dim the eye. All is peace forevermore on that happy golden shore. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day that will be when my Jesus I shall see, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. There'll be no sorrow there, no more burdens to bear, no more sickness, no more pain, no more parting over there, and forever I will be with the one who died for me. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day that will be when my Jesus I shall see, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day that will be when my Jesus I shall see, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day, glorious day that will be.
This next song was written by a lady named Paula Stefanovich. She started writing songs when she was 15 years old. And she's written several songs, but the one that she is most known for is a song that the Hoppers did. And it really put them on the map. They'd had several hits, but none like this one. This became their signature song. And I think she wrote this about 2002, and the Hoppers recorded it in 2004. And it won her several awards, and just has become an incredibly popular song. And I remember the first time that I heard it, I got to the point after so many years of working in music, I'm so busy in the studio and working on my own music and what have you, there's not a lot of time left to listen to other people's music. With the advent of YouTube, I mean, I was in music a long time before YouTube. But with the advent of YouTube, we can go in and research things. Now you can find almost any song you want to look for if somebody's ever recorded it, you know, and particularly if they put it on YouTube, you search it and you can find it. Stuart Hamlin, the guy I was just telling you about earlier in the program tonight, you can go on and find him singing his songs. And he recorded those songs back in the 30s and 40s, maybe 50s at the latest. But they're on YouTube, you know. But anyway, a lady came into my studio and she was recording what we call a track album. She had purchased these backing tracks from some company. I don't know what it was, but who they were. But anyway, she had her 10 tracks and everything, and we came to this track. And when she started playing this thing, and man, the arrangement was fabulous. It orchestrated and all of this stuff, you know, and I'm going, wow. So I like to take on a challenge every now and then. You know, if you listen to my music, those of you that play along with me, you know, it's reasonably simple, you know. I mean, now and then there'll be a fourth or a fifth chord, but a lot of it's just 3-chord songs, you know. Sometimes they're the best. But what got me to playing these old songs was people asking for them, people requesting them. And since I'm not a prolific songwriter, I thought, well, if they want to hear them, I don't mind singing them, you know. And I sort of developed this simple style that people seem to enjoy. And but anyway, now and then I like a challenge, you know. And when I heard this, I'm going, you know, I just wonder if I could pull this off. And I spent, I don't know, must have been 2 or 3 months working on this thing. And I'd find a little more and a little bit more and some other things. And of course, I didn't have, with no budget, you can't go in and hire an orchestra or whatever, like whatever they had to put all of theirs together. I had to create it all from samples and things that I have that I can play from my keyboard. And so I substituted a couple of synthesizer parts for horns and just different things that I was able to find. And it began to take, you know, I'm going, well, you know, this might work. So I finally finished it up and I mixed it down, and I don't have it on any of my CDs, but you can hear it online. You know, it's on my YouTube channel. But anyway, Paula wrote this song, and it's just a great song, and I love it. And I'm glad I took it on and recorded it because I enjoyed doing it. But it's a song called Jerusalem.
John saw a city that could not be hid. John saw the city, oh yes he did. John caught a glimpse of the golden throne. Tell me all about it, go right on. Around the throne he saw a crystal sea. There's got to be more, what will it be? I want to go to that city he saw, New Jerusalem. Jerusalem, I want to walk your streets that are golden, and I want to run where the angels have trod. Jerusalem, I want to rest on the banks of your river, in that city, city of God. John saw the lion laid down by the lamb. I want to know everything about that land. John saw the day, but he did not see night. The Lamb of God, well, it must be the light. He saw the saints worship the great I Am, crying, worthy, worthy is the Lamb. I want to go to that city he saw, New Jerusalem. Jerusalem, I want to walk your streets that are golden, and I want to run where the angels have trod. Jerusalem, I want to rest on the banks of your river, in that city, city of God. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, sing, for the night is over. Streets that are golden, and I want to run where the angels have trod. Jerusalem, I want to rest on the banks of your river, in that city, city of God. God, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, city of God, it's the city of God.
Last week, I'm not going to philosophize too much tonight. Last week, I think I got a little deep in the weeds for some of you. And sometimes that happens, you know. But it was basically about how once we are raised in a certain faith, we really become attached to that faith. It's the way we were raised. It's what we know, and how I believe that God's going to have sympathy for those that they weren't lucky enough to be raised in a Christian home. As long as they are doing the things that Jesus taught us, which most religions encompass a higher way of looking at things and loving each other and that sort of thing. And that is Jesus' way. And you know, you might not have heard it from him, but as long as you are trying to abide by those principles anyway, if we are raised a certain way, it's really hard to move us out of that spot, you know, because we become dedicated to those principles and those things. And somewhere along the way, there's really it's kind of hard to determine who wrote this song. Some say it was a fellow named Ackley, and some say it was a guy named John Benson. But Benson formed a publishing company, and in the early days, a lot of these publishers would go out and find folk songs that really we didn't know the origin of, but they were out there, and they would get the words and the music, and they would claim that they wrote the song. I mean, I don't know that they were really claiming that. They did it so they could publish it. So I'm not sure that they were trying to steal anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes their name would get attached to it and when they didn't really write it. And we're not sure that Ackley wrote it, but it appeared in one of his books in 1906. It's a song called I Shall Not Be Moved, and it became a freedom song. A lot of the freedom movements, particularly the folk singers back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, when they were doing the freedom marches and things, they used this kind of like a theme song. But when I put it on my website, on my YouTube channel, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people watched it, and it was one of my earliest videos, so the quality is not very good. But it got a lot of views, so I thought it might be worth redoing and using it on our program. So for our final song tonight, I'm going to do you my version of I Shall Not Be Moved.
Jesus is my Savior, I shall not be moved. In His love and favor, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. In my Christ abiding, I shall not be moved. In His love I'm hiding, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. If I trust Him ever, I shall not be moved. He will fail me never, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. On His word I'm feeding, I shall not be moved. He's the one that's leading, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Lord, I shall not be moved.
Well, that's our program for tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. Don't forget to go by our website, birdyeomans.com. All my CDs are there and my songbook. And if you have any questions, email Linda, and her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. And again, we appreciate you being with us, and I will look forward to seeing you next Friday night at 8 o'clock.